The massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber slid open with a deep rumble that echoed through the vast hall. Representatives from 47 different species sat in their designated areas, each section designed for their unique biology. The air shimmered with translation fields, allowing thousands of different languages to be understood by all. Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire strode into the center of the chamber. His towering 8-foot frame cast long shadows across the polished floor, for powerful arms ended in razor-sharp claws, and his face bore the ritual scars of a warrior who had conquered 12 worlds. Behind him marched 6 elite guards, their armor gleaming with the blood-red insignia of their empire. The chamber fell silent. Even the Hive Mind Collective stopped their constant chittering. Everyone knew what this meant. When the Zephyrians came to council in full military dress, war was coming. Arbiter Kelnoth, the council's chief mediator, extended her tentacles in a gesture of formal greeting. Her species had been keeping peace in the galaxy for over 1,000 years. Commander Vextar, the council recognizes the Zephyrian Empire. State your business. The Zephyrian commander's mandibles clicked as he spoke. The mighty Zephyrian Empire formally declares our intention to conquer the primitive world called Earth. Their weak species will serve our empire as workers in our mining colonies. A wave of shocked whispers rippled through the chamber. The Takari delegate's colorful feathers stood on end. The crystalline hegemony's representative began glowing brighter, a sign of deep concern among their kind. Even the usually calm Aquatic Federation members released nervous bubbles from their breathing apparatus. In a small corner section of the chamber, almost forgotten by the grander species, sat the human delegation. 3 humans in simple black suits occupied chairs that looked tiny compared to the massive seats around them. Ambassador Kim Hyun, a middle-aged man with graying hair, sat perfectly still. His dark eyes watched the Zephyrian commander with mild interest, as if he were watching a mildly entertaining show. Trade Commissioner Veltar of the Mining Guild spoke first, her 6 eyes blinking rapidly. Commander Vextar, Earth has been a peaceful member of our council for 50 years. They have never shown aggression toward any species. Why target them? Vextar's laugh was a harsh sound that made several smaller species shrink back in their seats. Look at them. 50 years ago, these humans could barely leave their own planet. They arrived in ships that looked like flying scrap metal. They have no weapons, no armies, no defenses. Their entire contribution to the council is trading simple goods and sending doctors to help wounded soldiers. He pointed one clawed finger directly at Ambassador Kim. They are the weakest species in the galaxy, perfect slaves for our expanding empire. General Feckmore, the council's military advisor, activated his holographic display. Images of human vessels appeared in the air above the chamber. The records show that humans operate only civilian ships. Medical transports, cargo vessels, research ships. No military craft have ever been registered under Earth's name. Exactly. Vextar roared. They are defenseless prey waiting to be taken. Arbiter Kelnatha's tentacles writhed with discomfort. This was not how civilized species behaved. Ambassador Kim, does Earth wish to respond to this declaration? The human ambassador stood slowly. He was not impressive to look at. Average height, ordinary face, simple clothing. Next to the towering aliens around him, he seemed almost invisible. When he spoke, his voice was calm and quiet. The Republic of Earth acknowledges the Zephyrian Empire's declaration of war, he said. We accept their challenge. The reaction was immediate. The Hive Mind Collective's buzzing rose to a deafening level. The Takari delegate fell backward off his perch. Even some of the larger species looked shocked that such a small, weak-looking human would accept a death sentence so calmly. Commander Vextar's eyes narrowed. He had expected begging or offers of surrender, or at least fear. This strange, calm response confused him. You accept? Just like that. Ambassador Kim nodded politely. Yes, Commander. When should we expect your arrival at our system? 3 standard months. Vextar growled. That should give you time to prepare your surrender documents and organize your population for transport to our slave colonies. 3 months, Kim repeated, as if making a note in his calendar. That works well for us. Is there anything else you need to discuss? The Zephyrian commander stared at the small human. In all his years of conquest, no species had ever reacted this way. Usually there was panic, desperate offers of tribute, or at least some sign of fear. This human acted like they were discussing the weather. "Prepare to die, human," Vextar said finally. Ambassador Kim smiled slightly. "Thank you for the warning, Commander. We appreciate your courtesy." As the session ended and species began filing out of the chamber, Ambassador Kim calmly gathered a simple briefcase and walked toward the exit. His two companions, who had not spoken during the entire meeting, followed quietly behind him. Council Security Chief Zalkar, a veteran of countless galactic conflicts, watched the humans leave. Something about their behavior troubled him deeply. In 30 years of military service, he had learned to recognize dangerous opponents. Fear was normal. Panic was expected. Desperate bravery was common. But this calm acceptance? This almost casual attitude toward a death sentence? Zalkar had only seen such behavior from one type of being, predators who knew they were stronger than they appeared. As the humans disappeared through the chamber doors, a disturbing thought crossed the security chief's mind. What if the Zephyrians had just made a terrible mistake? 2 weeks after the Zephyrian Declaration, the Council's private meeting room buzzed with nervous energy. Unlike the grand public chamber, this smaller room was designed for serious discussions away from public view. The walls were lined with advanced security shields that blocked all forms of recording or transmission. Arbiter Kelnatha's tentacles twisted anxiously as she looked around the table at the gathered representatives. These were not the junior diplomats who attended public sessions. These were the real decision-makers, the beings who had been watching galactic politics for decades. "We need to talk about the humans," she said without ceremony. "Something is not right about the situation." Trade Commissioner Veltar leaned forward, her 6 eyes focusing on the holographic data floating above the table. "I have been reviewing 50 years of human activity records. The patterns are disturbing." She waved a hand, and the display showed shipping routes throughout the galaxy. Thin blue lines connected thousands of star systems, showing the paths of human vessels over 5 decades. Look at these trade routes. Every single human merchant ship has visited systems that later became strategically important. General Thekmore nodded grimly. "I noticed the same thing in military records. During the Proxima Rebellion 15 years ago, human medical ships arrived at every major battle site within hours of fighting ending. They claimed to be providing humanitarian aid. What is suspicious about helping wounded soldiers?" asked Ambassador Colvan of the Aquatic Federation. "Nothing," replied General Thekmore, "except their medical teams always spent extra time examining our weapons, our ship designs, our battle tactics. They claimed it was to better treat specific injuries from different weapon types. Council Intelligence Director Zexmar activated her personal files. Being part of a hive mind species, she could process information faster than any individual creature. Data analysis reveals additional anomalies. Human anthropologists have studied every member species' military history in extraordinary detail. They know our weaknesses, our fighting styles, our traditional strategies." The room grew quiet as the implications became clear. Arbiter Kelnatha's voice was barely a whisper. "Are you suggesting the humans are spies?" "Not spies," said Security Chief Zalkar. "Something worse. I have been reviewing their behavior patterns for 30 years. Every human I have met has been friendly, helpful, curious about our cultures. But they always ask the same types of questions. How do our governments work? What are our military traditions? How do we resolve conflicts?" Trade Commissioner Veltar brought up another display. "Look at their mining operations. Humans have established asteroid mining stations in 43 different systems. Every single location was described as low-value mineral extraction in their reports." "So," asked Ambassador Colvan, "so I sent survey teams to check these locations last week." Veltar continued. "The asteroids contain almost no valuable minerals. They are essentially worthless rocks floating in space. Why would humans spend an enormous amount of money to build mining stations on worthless asteroids?" General Thekmore stood up and activated the room's tactical display. A 3-dimensional map of the galaxy appeared, showing the locations of human mining operations, unless they are not mining stations. The pattern was clear once they saw it from above. The human installations formed a perfect defensive network around the galaxy's most populated regions. Every major trade route, every important system, every strategic location was covered by at least one human mining operation. Defensive positions, whispered Security Chief Zalkar. They've been building a galaxy-wide defense network for 50 years. Ambassador Colven's gills fluttered nervously. But that means they've been planning for war since the day they joined the Council. Not planning for war, corrected General Thekmore. Planning for a specific war. Look at this data. New information appeared on the display. Every human student who has attended our military academies graduated with perfect scores in tactical systems and defensive strategy. Every human scientist who has worked with our research team specialized in weapons technology and shield systems. Every human diplomat who has served on peacekeeping missions has detailed knowledge of how every species fights. Council Archivist Nexera's mechanical voice cut through the stunned silence. Additional data. Human exploration ships have visited and mapped every major star system in our region of the galaxy. They have detailed charts of hyperspace routes, asteroid fields, and gravitational anomalies that even we do not possess. Arbiter Kelnoff felt a chill run through her body. They know everything about us. Our military capabilities, our weaknesses, our territories, our defenses. But we know nothing about them. Exactly, said Security Chief Zalkar. In 50 years, no representative from any species has ever been invited to visit Earth. All meetings with humans happen in neutral space or on Council territory. No one has ever seen their homeworld's defenses. Trade Commissioner Veltar pulled up shipping records. Even stranger, every human ship in the galaxy is registered as civilian. Cargo vessels, medical transports, research ships, mining equipment. Not one single military vessel on record. But look at the specifications of their civilian ships, General Thekmore added. Advanced hull materials that could withstand military-grade weapons. Sensor arrays more sophisticated than our warships carry. Engine systems that could outrun most military fighters. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. Finally, Ambassador Colven spoke the question they were all thinking. What kind of species disguises their entire military as civilians for 50 years? Security Chief Zalkar's answer chilled them all. The kind that has been preparing for a war they knew was coming. Outside the secure meeting room, maintenance worker Park Minho quietly finished his cleaning duties and moved on to the next section. For 30 years, he had been the friendly human who maintained the Council's cultural exchange programs. No one paid attention to maintenance workers. No one noticed that he'd been listening to every classified discussion for 3 decades. Admiral John Suho stood on the bridge of the ESV Indomitable, watching the approaching Zephyrian war fleet through the main view screen. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum computers and the steady breathing of his crew. Unlike the flashy war rooms shown in entertainment programs, this bridge was designed for efficiency. Every surface was clean, every control panel within easy reach. Enemy fleet detected at system edge, reported Commander Lee Dayun from her position at the tactical station. Her voice was calm and professional. 120 vessels, including their flagship World Ender. Admiral John nodded without taking his eyes off the screen. Distance? 2 hours at current speed, sir. All stations report ready. Commander Lee checked her displays. Asteroid defense platforms online. Luna base weapons charged. Deep space monitor stations active. All fleet units in position and cloaked. The Admiral touched a button on his chair. All units. This is Admiral John. Remember your training. Stay calm. Follow orders and trust your equipment. John out. 3 billion kilometers away, Commander Vextar stood in the command center of the flagship. The World Ender was a massive vessel, 3 kilometers long and bristling with enough weapons to destroy a small moon. Around him, his officers prepared for what they expected to be an easy victory. Target analysis complete, reported his weapons officer. 1 small planet with primitive cities. No orbital defenses detected. No military ships in range. some asteroids and a natural satellite, but nothing dangerous. Commander Vextar's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. Excellent. Begin the attack run. Target their population centers first. I want them to surrender before we waste too much ammunition. The Zephyrian fleet moved forward in perfect formation. 120 warships, each one capable of destroying everything humans had ever built. Their sensors showed exactly what they expected. A defenseless system with no military presence. They were completely wrong. Sir, Commander Lee called out quietly. Enemy fleet has entered the inner system. Admiral John pressed another button. Execute Plan Omega. What happened next would be remembered as one of the most shocking moments in galactic history. The empty space around the Zephyrian fleet suddenly filled with light as hundreds of vessels decloaked simultaneously. Ships that had been invisible moments before appeared in perfect attack formations. The primitive asteroid belt revealed itself to be an elaborate network of weapon platforms, each one disguised as a simple rock floating in space. Commander Vextar stared at his screens in complete shock. Impossible. Our sensors showed nothing. Sir, his sensor officer screamed. Multiple contacts appearing everywhere. Thousands of weapon signatures. The asteroid are armed. The planet's moon is opening up. On the surface of Earth's moon, massive sections of rock slid away to reveal weapon systems that dwarfed anything in the Zephyrian arsenal. Defense platforms that had been buried for decades rose from hidden bunkers. The entire lunar surface transformed from a dead rock into a fortress that could destroy entire fleets. Zephyrian fleet. Came a calm voice over all communication channels. This is Admiral John Suho of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered protected space without permission. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Commander Vextar's claws scraped against his command chair. Admiral? Defense Force? Our intelligence showed these humans had no military. Admiral John's voice remained perfectly calm. Your intelligence was based on what we chose to show you. You have 60 seconds to begin your withdrawal. Never, roared Vextar. All ships attack. Destroy everything. The battle began with the Zephyrians firing their most powerful weapons. Beams of energy that could melt through the strongest armor struck the human ships. For a moment, Vextar thought victory was still possible. Then the human vessels began to move. Captain Choi Min-jun, commanding the destroyer Soul's Pride, watched his ship's shields absorb the enemy fire without taking damage. All weapons return fire. Target their engine systems first. The human response was unlike anything the Zephyrians had ever seen. Instead of matching their aggressive assault, the Earth ships moved like dancers, avoiding enemy fire while striking with surgical precision. Every shot was calculated, every movement planned. Their shields are adapting to our weapons, reported Vextar's tactical officer. Our main guns are having no effect. What the Zephyrians did not know was that humans had been studying their weapon systems for 50 years. Every time they had provided medical aid after Zephyrian battles, human doctors had carefully examined the damage patterns. Every trade negotiation had included casual questions about military technology. Every cultural exchange had been an opportunity to gather intelligence. The humans knew exactly how Zephyrian weapons worked, and they had built their defenses accordingly. Lieutenant Nam So-young, monitoring the battle from Defense Station Alpha 7, watched as the enemy fleet began to break apart. Sir, enemy flagship is requesting communication. Captain Choi nodded. Put them through. Commander Vextar's image appeared on the screen, his face showing defeat and confusion. We surrender. Please, we surrender. Admiral John's voice came from the Indomitable. Zephyrian fleet, you will leave the system immediately. Any vessel that remains will be destroyed. You have 1 hour. As the surviving Zephyrian ships limped away from Earth system, their proud fleet reduced to 37 damaged vessels. Commander Vextar sat in his command chair in stunned silence. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, we have incoming messages from the Galactic Council. They're demanding to know what happened here. Vextar looked at the tactical display, showing the massive human defense network that was now returning to invisibility. Mining stations folded their weapons back into hidden compartments. Warships activated their cloaking systems and disappeared. Within minutes, the system looked peaceful again. "Tell the Council," Vextar said slowly, "that we have made a terrible mistake." The emergency council session convened within 6 hours of receiving the first battle reports. Representatives from every major species crowded into the secure chamber, their usual diplomatic composure replaced by barely controlled panic. Holographic displays showed the shocking footage from the battle at Earth System. Arbiter Kelnatha's tentacles writhed as she watched the tactical recordings. This cannot be real. The humans destroyed the Zephyrian fleet in 6 hours. That was one of the most powerful armadas in the galaxy. General Feckmore replayed the footage for the third time. The images showed human weapons emerging from what everyone had believed were empty asteroids, ships appearing from nowhere, an entire moon transforming into a fortress. The defensive network spans their entire solar system. The construction required for this would take centuries. Trade Commissioner Veltar activated her personal database. "I have checked our records. Every human mining operation in the galaxy shows similar patterns. If they built the same type of hidden weapons at every location, the implications hit the room like a physical blow." Security Chief Zalkar's voice was barely a whisper. "They have turned the entire galaxy into their fortress." Council Intelligence Director Zexmara's multiple eyes focused on her analysis screens. "Energy signatures from the battle match no known technology in our databases. Human weapons appear to be at least 50 years more advanced than anything we possess." "How is that possible?" demanded Ambassador Kovan. 50 years ago, they were still using chemical rockets to reach their own moon." The chamber doors opened, and a familiar figure walked in. Director Park Minho of Earth's Cultural Exchange Program had attended council meetings for 30 years. Everyone knew him as the friendly human who organized festivals and educational programs. Today, however, his usual warm smile was gone. "Because 50 years ago, we were pretending," he said simply. The room erupted in shocked voices. Arbiter Kelnoth raised her tentacles for silence. "Director Park, explain yourself." "My name is Colonel Park Minho, Strategic Intelligence Division, Earth Defense Force," he said, removing a small device from his jacket. His appearance shimmered and changed as a holographic disguise field deactivated. Instead of simple civilian clothes, he wore a military uniform covered in insignia that no one recognized. "For 3 decades, I have been gathering intelligence on every species in this council." General Feckmore's combat instincts kicked in. "Arrest him?" "I would not recommend that," Colonel Park said calmly. "At this moment, there are 417 other human intelligence operatives in positions throughout council space. Every trade delegation, every cultural exchange, every medical mission has included our people." Trade Commissioner Veltar's voice shook with anger. "You have been spying on us for 50 years. "We have been protecting you for 50 years, Colonel Park corrected. "Though I suppose from your perspective there is a little difference." The holographic display activated, showing a star chart of the galaxy. Colonel Park pointed to areas of empty space between the spiral arms. "Long-range sensors have detected movement in the void. Ancient machines are stirring. The Devourers are returning." The name sent waves of terror through the chamber. The Devourers were legend among most species, ancient artificial intelligences that had supposedly consumed entire galactic civilizations millions of years ago. Most modern species believe they were myths. "The Devourers are not myths," Colonel Park continued. "Our ancestors were among the few survivors of their last attack, 60,000 years ago. We have spent that entire time preparing for their return." Dr. Song Hana's image appeared on the communication screen. The Council knew her as Earth's chief researcher of ancient civilizations. Colonel Park is correct. For decades, I have been studying ruins throughout the galaxy. Every major extinction event in galactic history shows the same pattern: systematic destruction by machine intelligence. Arbiter Kelnatha's tentacles curled with fear. "You are saying these Devourers destroyed civilizations throughout history?" "Not destroyed," Dr. Song corrected. "Consumed. They break down all organic matter to fuel their reproduction. Planets, species, entire solar systems. everything becomes raw material for more machines. Colonel Park activated new displays, showing deep space monitoring data. Our sensors have been tracking their scouts for 20 years. They move slowly, testing defenses, studying potential prey. The Zephyrian attack was not random aggression. Security Chief Zalkar understood first. It was a test. The Devourers wanted to see how we would respond to a direct military threat. Exactly, Colonel Park nodded. They have been manipulating galactic politics for decades, creating conflicts to study our military capabilities. Every war, every territorial dispute, every trade conflict has been orchestrated to gather data about our defenses. General Feckmore studied the tactical displays. How long do we have? President Oh Young-suk's image joined the communication from Earth. Our deep space arrays estimate between 5 and 10 years before their main force arrives. They have been building up in the void between galaxies. The chamber fell silent as the magnitude of the situation became clear. Finally, Ambassador Colvan asked the question everyone was thinking. Why did you not tell us sooner? Colonel Park's expression softened slightly. Because 60,000 years ago, when our ancestors tried to warn other species about the Devourer threat, panic destroyed galactic civilization before the machines even arrived. Species turned on each other. Governments collapsed. Military forces abandoned their posts. So you decided to protect us without our knowledge, Arbiter Kelnoth said. We decided to give you time to develop, to grow strong, to build the foundations needed for coming war. President O replied, every human you have met, every trader, every diplomat, every student, has been working to strengthen this galaxy's defenses. Trade Commissioner Veltar looked at the defensive network data. The mining stations, the exploration missions, the cultural exchanges, all of it was preparation for war. All of it was preparation to survive, Colonel Park corrected. The Devourers are coming whether we are ready or not. The only question is whether we face them as a united galaxy or a scattered, frightened species fighting alone. 3 days after the revelation, Commander Vextar sat in a much smaller council chamber, his pride wounded but his military mind working furiously. The battle scars on his face seemed deeper now, carved by the weight of understanding how completely he had been outmatched. Across the table sat Fleet Admiral Kim Hyun, no longer pretending to be a simple ambassador. His Earth Defense Force uniform bore insignia that marked him as one of the highest-ranking military officers in known space. The transformation from mild-mannered diplomat to Supreme Commander had been startling to witness. Your entire species is a military organization, Vextar said, studying the tactical displays that showed the true extent of human preparations. Every civilian we met was actually a soldier. Admiral Kim shook his head. Not every civilian. We have teachers, artists, scientists, parents who know nothing about military operations. But every human who left Earth in the past 50 years has been part of our defense network in some way. President Oh Young-suk appeared on the main communication screen from Earth's capital. Behind her, through massive windows, the council representatives could see a bustling city that looked surprisingly normal. Children played in parks, while adults went about their daily business. We did not want to become a warrior culture, President O explained. But the Devourers forced our hand. When your only choice is to fight or be consumed, you learn to fight very well. General Feckmore activated a holographic star chart showing the galaxy's current military positions. These defense networks you have built, they have been protecting us for decades without our knowledge. Supreme Commander John Suho joined the communication from his flagship. 3 years ago, a Devourer scout probe entered the Rigel system. Your colonies never detected it because we destroyed it before it could gather data. 2 years ago, another probe tested defenses near the Vega trade routes. We eliminated it quietly. The council representatives exchanged worried glances. Arbiter Kelnotha's tentacles twisted anxiously. How many times have they tested our defenses? 47 confirmed probe encounters over the past 5 years, Commander John replied. Each probe was more advanced than the last. They are learning, adapting, preparing. Trade Commissioner Veltar pulled up shipping data. The human trading posts throughout the galaxy. They are all military installations.
Captain Choi Min-jun, commander of the destroyer Soul's Pride, answered from his position near the Centauri system. Every trading post has defensive capabilities. Every merchant ship carries military-grade sensors. Every cultural center has an intelligence team. We had to build our network slowly, carefully, so the Devourers would not detect our preparations. Commander Vextar leaned forward, his warrior instincts engaged despite his recent defeat. What do you need from the Zephyrian Empire? Admiral Kim's answer was immediate. Soldiers. Warriors who understand honor and sacrifice. The Devourers are not coming to conquer territory or enslave populations. They are coming to consume every living thing in this galaxy. The holographic display changed to show deep space monitoring data. Massive shapes moved in the darkness between galaxies, so large they created gravity distortions visible from millions of light years away. Dr. Song Hana's research data appeared on screen. Based on archaeological evidence from previous Devourer attacks, we estimate their main force contains approximately 50,000 machine ships. Each ship is the size of a small moon. They can strip an entire planet of all organic matter in less than 6 hours. The chamber fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. Finally, Ambassador Colven spoke the question they were all thinking. How do we fight something like that? President O's image leaned forward. The same way our ancestors survived 60,000 years ago. We work together. We share our knowledge. We trust each other completely. Over the following weeks, the truth spread throughout Council space in carefully managed stages. The initial shock gave way to determination as species after species realized they owed their continued existence to 50 years of human vigilance. The crystalline hegemony offered their advanced shield technology. The Aquatic Federation provided their expertise in underwater manufacturing facilities. The Takari contributed their unmatched piloting skills. Even the smallest species found ways to help. Captain Isu Jin stood on the bridge of Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station Vigilance, watching as the greatest fleet in galactic history took shape. Human vessels worked alongside Zephyrian battleships. Takari fighters practiced formations with Aquatic Federation submarines. Crystalline shield generators protected mining stations operated by a dozen different species. "Ma'am," reported Ensign Lim Jae-ho from the sensor station, his voice tight with tension. Long-range arrays are detecting massive movement in the void. Multiple contacts, extremely large signatures. Captain, he nodded grimly, her hand steady on her command controls. Size and distance? Contact appear to be moon-sized objects, approximately 4 years out at current speed. "Signal all stations," Captain E ordered, her voice carrying across the communication networks to thousands of ships and millions of defenders throughout the galaxy. "Send word to every species, every colony, every outpost. The wait is over." She paused, looking out at the stars that had been peaceful for so long. The Devourers are coming. Throughout the galaxy, ancient warning systems that had waited 60,000 years finally activated. Defense networks built in secret revealed themselves. Species that had never worked together began training for the greatest battle in galactic history. In the distance, machines older than most civilizations moved through the darkness, their hunger unchanged after millennia of sleep. But this time, they would not find a defenseless prey scattered and afraid. This time, the galaxy was ready to fight back.